the technology had come from Russia into Holland, and then it actually came directly from Russia to the UK, but then went back to Holland, and all the training material had been translated from Russian to Dutch to English. Well, you can imagine, Mark, I mean, after that 2-day training course with 9 other intrepid people coming from all over the world, we were more confused about it than when we started.
Hello, hello, it's Mark Attwood, the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. How's it going? It is Wednesday the 10th of July as I'm recording this. And this is a follow-up to the video that I did recently with Richard Cumbers, who went through the healing scan that he did on me, the scan which went deep into meridians and organs and all of that with some quite shocking results. So I hope some of you have taken advantage of that and got yourself booked in to have a session with Richard, because it is amazing what he can find for you. And this is really about something else that Richard has introduced me to, which is this thing. And this is called the Pain Genie. Now, the story of me and the Pain Genie actually goes back to 2017, 2018. I saw this advertised, or I saw a video about this, and I went and bought an attachment to this without realizing that I hadn't actually bought the real thing, because I was so interested in it. But then my life went all over the place, so I forgot all about it. And then I met Richard last year, and he came to my house and he used this on me and Gary and my son, 2 of my sons, I think. And it was quite amazing. And I'll tell you what, let's just get him on. Let's get him on and talk about it. Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Hello again.
Hi.
Right, so I've had loads of messages today following our video. I'll just read one of them to you, because this is it's amazing how many people need help still. I'll read this one without giving it away. Yeah, blown away by the Richard interview. I filled in the form. Do I need to contact him direct for a scan? Yeah, you will be emailed with Richard's details if you haven't already shortly. And yeah, I know this person, and she knows somebody who's got progressive Parkinson's, and it's stuff like that people are not actually being helped with. They're just being given drugs by the system, and it's not helping them at all. But so thank you for doing that show with us on the scans. And I wanted to do this follow-up because this is the crazy machine that I've seen you perform. I can only describe them as miracles with. It's extraordinary. And the reason why I wanted to talk, I've been looking at this for months and months and months. I wanted to do a show with you before about it, but I think the experience of having a healing center and seeing people come in, myself, having not been somebody that says they're a healer for most of my life, is quite extraordinary, because it often the pain is something representative of other things that are going on. And if you can relieve the pain immediately, then you have generated a massive amount of confidence, and then you can start really going to work on the deeper root issues. Would that be a correct kind of sentence? And how does this work? There's a lot of questions in that one. Sorry, Richard, that's too many questions. I'm a shit interviewer today. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, let's start with that. I saw you do things with this because you're an expert with this machine.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, let's start with that. What is this? Why are you so good at it? What does it do?
Okay, so I got involved with this technology. I was actually working for a merchant bank with computers. I was brought up in the Middle East and the Far East, so we're very much into healing. I was actually using, and I hope they're not hearing this right now, but I was actually using the bank's mainframe computers before the internet was really born to search through major databases which were not linked like you can now. I mean, we had mega streams and killer streams that cost millions of pounds a year for the bank to transfer data. And so I'd set things running at night using any spare mainframe power to search for crazy stuff all over the world. And one day I came in and there was a big report on my desk, and I'd found this amazing article from Alaska where this, it was crazy, this vet had treated, I mean, this is going to sound mad, right? Had treated a hermaphrodite husky dog for surgery it had using this technology because he was a Russian. And I'm looking at this thinking, crikey, what you can find with £3 million worth of computer power, you know. So when I saw that, I realized that this technology was around, but it took me about 3 years then to actually find anything really about it, because the only one website was in Russian, and it was only being used in Russian universities and teaching universities. So not even the Russians really knew about it. I finally tracked down a doctor who was living in Salisbury after about 3 years, and went to see her about this Scalar technology from the space program. And by the way, we have got stuff from the other one as well, not just the Russian one. But and when I saw her in Salisbury, she was an incredibly lovely Kazakhstani doctor who had one of these devices. And within half an hour of chatting with her, because really I was just going to talk about it and to understand more about it, she said, but you must have a problem. You must have a, and funny enough, I'd had, because I was playing tennis previously 5 times a week. I was brought up next to the West of England club, and I used to, before Wimbledon, all the top players would be there. I'd knock up with them. You know, it was great. I was only like 15 or something.
Wow, were you talking about Bjorn Borg era?
Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah, I mean, McEnroe and all the rest of it. You know, I mean, because I was very young then, and they were still on the circuit, well on the circuit, and so and Nastasi and whatever, and so I hadn't played tennis for a year and a half because I'd hurt my crucial ligament in my knee. And even walking, I could feel a dull pain. And it gets a bit depressing after a while if you're used to that type of thing. And so I said, yeah, I have got a problem, actually. And she said, where is it? And I thought, well, you know, I'm going to be careful here. I said, you tell me. She said, well, give me roughly. So I said, it's in my right leg. So within half an hour, she had my trousers off in the living room, and she was rubbing this device up and down my leg. And she said, it's there, isn't it? And she got it, nailed it straight away. I thought, wow. And she gave me a 3.5 minute treatment. Now, remember, I had this for a year and a half. Couldn't play tennis because it would start hurting too much. And even if I walked for a while, there was a dull ache. Well, 3.5 minute treatment. Afterwards, it felt different, but there was still, you know, I was with her for 3 hours. I remember walking out to the car thinking, oh, it's still a bit, you know, it's still a bit kind of whatever. Anyhow, amazing meeting, didn't think much more of it. 2 weeks later, it was summer. A friend of mine called. I went out playing tennis for about 3 hours, came back. I'm sitting in the bath. I'm thinking, I couldn't believe it. I'd been playing tennis for 3 hours and I hadn't had a twinge at all in that knee. And it was one of those weird things where you know, when the pain goes, you kind of forget about it. And I literally catapulted out the bath. I just couldn't believe it. But it'd taken 2 weeks because things like tendons and ligaments and things, we treat a lot of footballers, they don't have much blood supply and you have to wait for that healing to really kick in. So again, with footballers, you know, they want to run straight away and kick a ball and go crazy, like Djibril Cissé. You know, we got many interviews from him. He played for France and Liverpool. But anyhow, so I really got involved then and realized how good it was. I went on the first ever training course, really, which was bizarre because the technology had come from Russia into Holland, and then it actually came directly from Russia to the UK, but then went back to Holland. And all the training material had been translated from Russian to Dutch to English. Well, you can imagine, Mark, I mean, after that 2-day training course with 9 other intrepid people coming from all over the world, we were more confused about it than when we started. And it took me quite some time because it was like, wow, this is amazing. It's like getting a Ferrari, but you can only find first gear, you know, and even first gear, you're thrashing the engine. But eventually I found out really how it was working, started working with people in Holland and the Russians, and we created a DVD. We changed the name. They allowed us to change the name of it. But I also realized at the same time, there were a lot of other technologies who were pretending to be that and were kind of reverse engineering, cloning the technology because it was just so good and they wanted to get on the bandwagon. So really, that device, there's a couple of flavors of it. You've got 2 electrodes. The middle electrode, what it does, it sends out nerve-like impulses to the body, which is picked up by the central nervous system. The body responds on the outside electrode. The device takes it, analyzes it, and sends another signal out. So, I mean, it's doing some incredibly clever things. So it's effectively going to a biofeedback with the body and making a massive healing response. And the Russians worked out that a lot of the major healing things of the body are neuropeptides. That's nerve chemicals. So neuropeptides, nerve chemicals. And there's over 100 of them, probably more, that they worked out. And each one of these peptides, if they're streaming down like your meridian system, etc., they will just drop the right payload on where there's a problem. Because normally, if you're totally healthy, you've got good relationships, good water. I mean, when was that last? When was the last time everyone had good water, good relationships, good food, no toxins? Your body would just be a super conducting neuropeptide transmission medium, and literally you're zapping things as they come up, toxins and all the rest of it. But obviously, we've lost our way completely, as you well know, in the last, I'd say 50, 60 years, probably longer, industrial revolution with, and the body has got lost. We haven't got the right minerals, the right connection with spirit, with the ground, with all these things that we used to have. So when you take this technology and start treating someone with it, or treating yourself, you can get some absolutely crazily amazing things happen. But through my experience of learning the hard way with it, and changing the name, because I realized that while we love the Russian people involved, they're amazing people. When you do all that research yourself and put a lot of effort and advertising into it, it's very easy for them to take that information and do a deal. They're in it for the money, like a lot of people. So we've ended up developing our own kind of techniques, fast tracking techniques. And I think you saw one of the, and we have got hundreds of testimonials, and I know you've seen quite a few of them. But if you saw, for example, the one with Michael Tellinger in South Africa, there's one there. And initially he had a rotor cuff problem, and we treated him. And within one treatment, he was sort of like, wow, 40% better. And then the next day I gave him another one, and that, wow, another 30%. And
let's have a quick look at that, actually, because most of my viewers will have heard of Michael Tellinger. I interviewed him on my show before. Yeah. And it'd be good to have a look at that, because it's a good.
Yeah, if you search for Pain Genie Michael Tellinger or something, you should.
I've got him.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's watch this for a sec.
Yeah. Hi, this is Michael Tellinger. I'm here at the Stone Circle Ubuntu at our museum, and we've just been exchanging some knowledge and information with Richard, and he's exposed me to the Pain Genie. And for the first time, I've experienced the real effectiveness and how quickly the Pain Genie actually works. Yesterday, my chef, or our chef, Chris, got a treatment. Chris has just been in hospital with a very serious car accident. And immediately, within 12 hours, he could feel a reaction and an improvement in the swelling on his leg that was really struggling to come down. And also in other parts of his body, he was really badly injured. We thought he was going to die. So that really attracted my attention. My partner, Emma, got a treatment last night or yesterday afternoon, and I could certainly see the effect on her yesterday evening. And this morning, she was like a new person. And I've just undergone a treatment with a Pain Genie, and I can immediately feel an improvement in my rotor cuff, shoulder, and the rest of my body definitely feel energized. So I'm excited to see where this goes to, and how I will be able to use the Pain Genie once I know how it works and how to use it myself into the future to heal myself and those loved ones around me. Hi, Michael Tellinger with a follow-up update on the Pain Genie after my treatment yesterday that I got from Richard on my shoulder mainly, and also on my face. So first of all, I've had 12 hours or more now, and this morning when I woke up, it was like my shoulder had undergone some miraculous treatment. There was at least a 50% improvement in my shoulder, the pain, the discomfort, and the pain levels. And this is an injury that I've had for more than 3 years now, and I cannot cure it. Somehow I just cannot get rid of this pulled or ripped rotor cuff muscle injury. And I've tried all kinds of things, and this has suddenly brought so much relief to me. I'm absolutely blown away. I received another treatment from Richard this morning with the Pain Genie, and after that, literally within minutes, there was another 20 or 30% improvement in the discomfort and pain levels. So unquestionably, whatever it does and however it works, it is incredibly effective and effective very quickly. That's what's the most important thing about this. This is not some homeopathic treatment that's going to take years to fix. This is a quick remedy and a cure for physical and bodily and muscle problems. And other problems as well, obviously, internal organs, etc., on every level. So what I need to add as well is that the reason why this treatment is so effective is because the team, Richard and the team at Pain Genie, have developed and perfected their own technique and methodology that is so incredibly effective and efficient. And then secondly, also, Richard did some treatment on my face yesterday. And then last night, suddenly, I got my sense of smell back, which I've lost over many years growing up and growing older. I had an incredibly acute sense of smell while I was in my teen years and in my 20s, and then it started to fade away. And suddenly, last night, I could smell things from a distance that I was not able to smell for years and years before. Suddenly, even this morning, I could smell the coffee across the room. And so whatever it's doing, the Pain Genie is performing miracles, and I'm living testimony of that.
Are you spiritually protected? Are you wearing the armor of God? Are you prepared against the principalities of darkness that currently wreak havoc in our world? Spiritual warfare is a very real thing. Weapons of Mass Protection is the explosive and practical 5-star best-selling book from authors Abby Wynn and Mark Atwood, who both agree that humanity is in the midst of the biggest spiritual awakening in human history. If you feel like things ain't what they seem, if you feel you are under attack, get your weapons ready now. Weapons of Mass Protection. Practical tools for spiritual warfare. Out now.
Well, that's pretty amazing testimonial from Michael there. You said it's Scenar technology.
Yeah, so originally, coming from the space program, it was called Scalar. So that's SCENAR or SCEK, and so that stands for self-controlled ergo-neuro-adaptive reflex. I mean, effectively, what that really means is going into a sort of type of biofeedback with the body, transmitting nerve-like impulses depending on certain criteria, and this then activates a massive healing response. So, and of course, it does a lot of other clever things that really we go through on like a training course, because I mean, anyone can just pick one up with a, with a DVD, which we website. But really, the real power of this is, again, by the way, I'll just qualify something, Mark. I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, and don't want to be, and so
don't blame you.
So we're not making any diagnosis or anything else. But what we're saying is these are leading edge technologies that are completely unknown, really. Even most of the Russians don't really understand it or know about it. But the trick is that when you understand a bit more about it, it goes way beyond what we can only say for pain relief, because we've got our hands, tied by the powers that be and what we can and can't say. So whatever I'm going to say now is I'm saying it as though I'm outside Europe and outside the United States, right? That's what I'm saying. And I'm not making any claims beyond pain relief. That's absolutely got to be done. But if we look at, so what we say, look, if as a side effect of you treating yourself or somebody else with this technology, you accelerate healing, well, that's great. That's a side effect.
Yeah.
In other words, that's the way we treat it. But when you see a bit more about it and how the energy of the body works, and as we both know, 95% of the body's energetic, it's just the physical part is a small part of it. It's doing an awful lot. So when, for example, we just treat the arm, and I know I've shown you.
That's the first thing you did with me was this bit, and you said it's a hologram, and yeah. So people just typically what happens to people, they'll get one from the website or something, and they go off for pain, and they'll treat themselves for pain, and the dog and their grandmother and whatever, have a great time with it, but not realize it's way more than that. But then often what will happen is they will get in touch maybe after about a month or 6 weeks or a year and say,
you know, I got one for this pain in my back, and you know, my kidney problem seems to have disappeared. Do you think it had anything to do with that? And so I say, well, how long you had the kidney problem? Oh, 10 years. I said, well, what do you think? Because
yeah,
you've got to be kind of economical with the truth again. But effectively, the way it's working is you're rubbing it over an area of skin, any area of skin, and it's picking up things like skin impedance, etc. So
Shall we demonstrate this?
You can. Mine. I've just lent it to a friend of mine who's hurt his back.
Well, let me just say something to the viewers because we're 18 minutes in. Just so you guys know, me and Gary at live5dhealth.com, we have been trying to get Richard involved with this at our clinic in the west of Ireland for months. But, you know, life takes over, business busy, But what we're doing is we're going to get Richard to come to Boyle in Roscommon in Ireland in the first weekend in September to do a live 2-day training course where me and Gary and our team are going to be spending 2 days learning how to use this properly, because it is like having it's like you said, it's like having a Ferrari, but only knowing how to drive a Corsa. And it's easy to forget how powerful it is. And sometimes, but I have used this on a few people, but I still don't feel quite qualified enough because there are all these additional things. And before you carry on explaining it or we show this demonstration, I just want to tell the viewers, I saw Richard use this on a friend of mine on the neck here, and it was really emotional because within about 30 seconds he just burst into tears and sobbed. This released some massive trauma. It is far more than just the pain relief, because I've observed it and I've seen it in action, which is why I wanted to talk to everybody about it. But tell me which button to press, and I'll do it on my arm while you're talking.
Just hold down the left and right hand buttons together. Yeah, until it beeps. Let go. Put it on your arm. Hold down the middle top button to increase the power level.
You know, I get nervous at this bit. See if they can hear it.
Yeah, and once you've got a nice level of power, just rub it up and down your arm.
Oh.
And see. Yeah, you've got too much power, it'd be a bit too strong. But
yeah, no, it's nice. It's actually nice. It's a bit of a tickle.
Yeah, and wherever it sticks or drags is where there's a problem.
Right there. There.
Well, you've got too much power.
Yeah, I know. I always do that. It doesn't hurt. It tickles, and I'm very sensitive.
So basically, and you're very sensitive, by the way, Mark. You're super sensitive. So when I remember when I treated you, you know, you're even a low level of power.
I know. I'm extremely.
You are extremely, yeah. But so what happens is you find that area, and you can either brush or make little anti-clockwise circles around it. Yeah.
Anti-clockwise.
And then, of course, it will start going into it will start generating this neuropeptide response, and you can see very, very quickly that people changing, blood flow to the face, for example, the way they suddenly start breathing properly.
Yeah, the deep breaths are coming out of me.
Yeah, and so in other words, when I'm saying that it's far more than pain relief, we're just saying that's a fantastic side effect of treating yourself or somebody else. That's all we're saying.
I mean, I think this is called watching teenagers put up a tent stressitis.
Yeah. Well, again, the main thing is the vast majority of people just get it out the box, start using it, deal with their pain, bring the pain levels down, and then they start realizing there's other effects to it. And that's when we say, yeah, come on a training course, because on the training course we go into much more detail. Everyone treats everyone else.
That's it.
Sorry?
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm just explaining to the viewers. I've literally just done a treatment on myself.
Yeah.
But it was just there in the middle of the arm. Now you told me that the arm is a hologram of the whole body. Yeah. So what would that area be there?
So very quickly, I mean, people know about reflexology, you know, treating the feet for the whole body, know about palmistry, auricular acupuncture, looking at the ears. So every organ is a hologram of the body. And a hologram is just something that if you take a small part of it, you can recreate the whole. So in our esoteric view of, you know, studying things and meeting lovely people like yourself and incredibly wise people, we understand that the cosmos seems to be a hologram or maybe even a virtual reality. So everything is holographic. So like you look at the finger, the end of the finger, represents the head. So we can treat a headache through the finger. Right? The middle part of the finger is the thoracic area, yeah? And the lower part of the finger is the abdomen and the legs. Okay, so likewise, if you look at the arm, so here, for example, would be the lower back. The wrist would reflect the lower back, ovaries, prostate, sciatic nerve, colon, all those things, coccyx. And as you move down the arm, you move up the body. Or if you like, well, if you move down from this direction, down the arm, you move from the head down the body. So, for example, if you rub it over the body and you find it very sticky on, say, this area here, yeah, then you know there's a problem with the lower back. There's also a problem with the wrist, but also there's a meridian that goes through here, which is the heart meridian. So you know there's some problem. It doesn't have to be a physical heart problem. It could be an emotional problem with the heart. And as the heart is joined to the small intestine meridian, because they're twins, you're treating all these things at the same time. This is where the power of it comes. But to the average public, if we start going off like this, they're going to go, "You're nuts. Yeah. How can this little device running a 9-volt battery do all that?" Well, it can do it because the guys that invented it were absolute whiz kids. I mean, the two Russian inventors who developed the software that runs on a genuine device, which is ours, they got the Order of Lenin in Russia, which is like a Nobel Prize. And this is the level. And it's very clever stuff, because to interface with nerve impulses, you've got to get it right. It has to be absolutely right. I mean, otherwise, it's not going to work. Yeah. And secondly, it could be slightly damaging for the body if it did that way. That's why, for example, TENS machines, and of course, you can go to your pharmacy now, and you can go and buy a TENS machine for between £20 and £1,000, or even £2,000 for a really flashy TENS machine. And all a TENS machine does, if this is this is how they describe it. It's not. I don't think it's written. We won't go there. But there's two nerves, and there's a synaptic cleft in between where they say there's a chemical reaction. So what a TENS machine does, it tries to block that synaptic transfer of a pain signal in between, these two nerves. Now, if that worked as a one-off, just once, like during childbirth, and ask how many women have used TENS in childbirth, so it doesn't work anyhow. But if it just worked once for childbirth or whatever, that's not a problem. But people are being sold TENS as something that they'd be using for pain all the time. And this is the problem. The analogy is like this. A pain signal is not a pleasant one, but it's there for a very good reason. It's the body trying to wake you up to do something. So the analogy is, your house is on fire, you're watching TV, and the fire brigade are banging on the door saying, "Hey, your house is on fire," and you just turn the TV up. Yeah. Well, your house is going to burn. So it's actually like a toxic electronic band-aid. And I've been told, by certain people, that when people finally realize that this is a real problem, there's going to be an awful lot of, lawsuits flying about. Again, another problem, because it seems to be, so this is not like that. It's very different. And that's why, if you look at testimonials I sent you on the flyer for the training course we're going to do. And I would also like to say that, I'm so happy with what you and Gary are doing at 5D Health, that as we discussed earlier on, I think that it would be great if 5D Health were the distributors for Pain Genie in Ireland. And we ran all the training courses there, and we did all the stuff there, because you've already got such a beautiful place by that river that it's, it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, it could well be. And that's why I want to get the training, because I just want to get everybody in our circle really up to speed and good with this, because it's just so quick and people are in so much pain. Yeah. And you and I know that's to do with the fact that the cells aren't charged enough. They've got too many toxins inside them, But that's a long-term road sometimes when you're trying to undo long-term damage of being poisoned, as we all have been for the last century or so. But this is a fantastic step. So so if you guys watching want to come to that, there's going to be a link below this video. Come along for the weekend, because it will be mind-blowing, and you get one of these as well before you come along, and you get to watch the DVDs like I did and get to practice on yourself, but then come along and learn how to use it really, really deeply well. And then if you're a health practitioner already, then this becomes a great thing in your armory. But if you're just somebody who's not a health practitioner, but you've got a family or community, these should be in every community because, well, this is obvious, isn't it?
Well, again, this is about, I think the big thing here is, I mean, we all know, and I'm sure that most of your viewers know, the world's in a hell of a mess. And we're looking at cataclysmic things happening on the financial front. The health services are literally melting down because they're so inept and everyone's ill. And of course, they're dealing in disease, not health. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And the treatments they're giving, the allopathic drugs, the LD50s, or the toxic side effects. I mean, you know, just look, I say, if you think of Vietnam, how many people died, were killed, those poor American guys were killed in Vietnam. Vioxx, one drug, killed more people than the whole of the Vietnam War, and yet no one complained about that. They settled for billions of pounds, billions of dollars. But everyone protested about Vietnam, and more people died with one drug.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just come back to the training, or maybe look at the thing you said there about voltage. The trick with voltage, as Jerry Tennant, who I've talked to and really appreciate his major knowledge. I mean, cells have voltage, and so if there's a blockage, if you think of a meridian as a pipe, yeah. So imagine it as a hose pipe, which is 100 foot long, and there's a tap here, and there's holes in the hose pipes. You turn the tap on, and all this water comes out watering the crops, and the hose pipes is blocked at the end. So you turn the tap on. Now imagine an organ is the tap, yeah? So you have a good strong heart, good strong kidneys, good strong spleen. Then the pressure in the hose pipe is good and strong. Lots of water comes out, which means all the crops either side of that hose pipe get nicely watered, right? But then, so I come along, let's say it's 100 foot long. I come along and I stand on that hose pipe 10 foot from the tap. Well, what's going to happen downstream? Well, not a lot, depending on how much I stand on it. So those crops are going to start dying because there's not enough water. Well, let's say water's chi, it's prana, it's life force, 95% of what you can't see. And now what's going to happen between my foot and the tap? Well, there's going to be high pressure, right? So there's going to be water pissing about all over the place. Those crops are going to start dying because now they've overwatered. There's too much energy. So the problem with cell voltage, a lot of it, from many, many things, which we go through, is these blockages feet on hose pipes. So we come along and find that area because anyone can do it. I mean, literally, and after a training course, you'll be good as me, basically. I mean, that's the way it works. Once you find that blockage and you remove it, energy starts powering down that pipe. And of course, that's where you have things like referred pain. I mean, 50% plus of pain is referred. In other words, it's not where you think where it's hurting, it's somewhere else. Now, that's why we can treat the arm, yeah, and treat the entire body because it's a hologram. And during the back pain show in Olympia, which was we attended for many, many years, was the biggest back pain, probably the biggest back pain show almost in the world. And people came from all over the world to it. We were the busiest stand. I had 7 people who'd been on one training course, treated everybody, and everyone got treated through the arm. It didn't matter where the pain was. It was hilarious because when we filmed all this stuff, you know, I mean, people would say, no, it's my back. And so, no, give us your arm. No, it's my back. And we treat the arm. Oh, how did that happen? You know, so once you have a bit more good knowledge, because good knowledge is power of the body and how it's really working, people will just be completely blown away. I mean, we've had, you know, I think I sent you saw one of the testimonials, somebody funny enough that you knew.
Yeah. Let me dig that out because this is a lovely woman who's been to our clinic. Just tell the story and then I'll play it. Yeah, I mean, so basically, we've run training courses over 20 years, thousands of people on them, and wonderful people, you know. So we learn a lot. I mean, it's about the people as well coming to it, you know. Like this training course, Mark's going to be there, Gary. It's just going to be an absolute, you know, sharing of information. So this girl came and she had a problem that she'd had for, I can't remember how long now, 10, 20 years, whatever. And as a demonstration, because I could see she was in pain, I think I cleared it in, I don't know, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Let's listen to what she's got to say. Let me find her. Here we go.
What's your name, please?
Mary Donald.
Hi, Marie. And what's the course you've just been on, please?
Scalar level 1.
Okay. And what did you think of it?
It has opened my eyes to a different type of healing. And as a healer myself and complementary practitioner, it has shown me totally different avenues I have never come across before.
Sounds good. How do you rate it out of 10?
About 100. Is that okay?
Brilliant. And why do you rate it so highly in that case? What have you seen that has
Right.
made
For
your
instance,
opinion?
myself, I've had a shoulder problem since the age of 5. And I have tried chiropractic, osteopathy, craniosacral, homeopathy, massage, aromatherapy, you name it. I have actually tried it to try and resolve this problem. Within 5 minutes today, this problem has been resolved for the first time since I was 5 years of age.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and what have you seen from other people at the same time?
Other people, just miraculous.
Yeah.
Clearing of old injuries, old wounds that have been deep-rooted, you know, on a very deep cellular level in their body. And they have come out clear. Yeah.
So you'd recommend the course to other people?
Absolutely. If they don't, they really don't know what they're missing.
Great. Anything else you'd like to say?
It was absolutely amazing, sublime. I mean, I can't praise it enough because of personally what it's done for me and what I've seen it has actually done for other people.
Thank you, Marie.
And thank you for allowing me on the course.
Yeah. Good way, you know, Mari. No, she came to our clinic early on and we had a good chat outside. If you're watching, Mari, hello. We could see you again. And that was 13 years ago. So, you know, you've been at this a long time. We're going up against an industry that doesn't want people to know about this. I mean, if you said to me 4 years ago, I'd even be doing this chat, I'd laughed at you in a way. But I did find this about 7 or 8 years ago. And I remember, I told you the story. I ordered the attachment, not the actual Pain Genie. And then this metal thing turned up in the post. I was like, what's this? I've forgotten what it was. It's here somewhere. But, you know, one of the issues is people don't solve problems that they've got themselves unless they're in serious trouble, usually. And I was discussing this with the healing clinic that we have. You know, like hyperbaric oxygen therapy is, to the majority of people that turn up, are there because it's what I would call a distress purchase. It's like, I've got a really, really bad problem and I've tried this and that's not worked, that's not worked, that's not worked. And then they come and try this. And one of the interesting things about running this clinic is that people will come and try it once or twice and then go, oh, it's not worked, and then leave and then go and do. They have this kind of, they expect this magic pill thing situation to happen. Whereas, you know, for chronic illnesses, hyperbaric oxygen is very, very useful if you did 30 or 40 sessions, not 1 or 2. But, you know, then people go, oh, it costs too much money. Even though in Ireland they pay 50 quid just to go and see a doctor. You know, and then charges them for the pills that it gives them that don't do anything for the problem. They're just like turning the TV up when the house is on fire, as you said. And it's extraordinary. So what I love about this is that the reason why I want to do the course, even though I don't particularly want to be a hands-on healer myself, because I don't know, maybe I will, I don't know. But it's a very useful skill for somebody to have within a family anyway. And I've got 5 children. And whenever there's an issue with them, you know, I'm very proud to say that they will come to me and, you know, it might be colloidal silver for this. It might be honey and lemon for that. It's never pharmaceuticals and it's never the doctor. Even with the cat, you know, but leave my own kids go, take the cat to the vet when the cat's poorly. I'm like, no, we can do it another way. And then the cat heals and they see it. And people have to see it to believe it, don't they? And that's why I'm keen to do the course. And I've seen you in action with it. But you've actually been at it a long time. And what a journey, because, you know, you've been suppressed as well, haven't you?
Well, I think we did have some problems where certain interviews I did at shows, and I said, look, I don't want this going out on the net. Please don't film it. And, you know, 1 or 2 unscrupulous people did film it and put it out. And then I ended up, pretty shows you what they can do with the war chest. We virtually went bust because of it. Luckily, I don't know, maybe the universe stepped in somehow, but we stayed with it. But, you know, I think the big thing really with this is it's future-proofing. So earlier I meant, you know, we know that the world's in a hell of a state. So let's just say if the worst did happen, and by the way, I'm my kind of motto is think the best, but be aware of the worst. So I'm not a kind of, So,
no, I'm the same.
So the issue is, if you've prepared for certain things, but let's face it, when the hospitals completely break down, not that you probably want to go there anyhow, when they completely break down and people realize what certain medical staff and people have been pushing, which is highly toxic and whatever, there's going to be an absolute collapse. Now, if you have, let's say, a Pain Genie, and you have a bit of knowledge, and as you know, I won't say it on this show now, but I took you to see someone in this area who had basically died, and we, as an acceleration of healing from a dead body, they managed to recover and be fine, for example. Well, for people coming on this course we're going to do with you, we're going to show them things that literally will blow their head off. Because if you know these and you know what to do with this technology, if something serious happens, you can probably deal with most things just with that little device with a 9-volt battery. But again, we've got to be careful, because if we are saying more than we're allowed to say, we'll end up, having problems. And we don't want to interfere with anyone's understanding. We're just saying this is a choice you can make. If you really want to understand this stuff, you need to have a device before you come in the training course, because we want everyone to have at least used it, seen the DVD, seen the members area has got loads of little techniques on it. When once you're a member, I think you've got some health club or whatever, the same thing, we interface them. Once you're a member, the membership rules are different. We can say things that we couldn't say if you weren't a member. And on the training course, we're literally going to go right for it and show you things that go way beyond anything to do with pain relief. They're about pain resolution, and literally show you what about chronic diseases. It's not just about the Pain Genie, it's how you put things together. Like, I was saying the other day, pure lemon oil on the thymus.
Yeah.
So simple. But if you combine essential oils with using the Pain Genie, and there was many people, for example, aromatherapists have come on the course and gone totally into energy medicine because they're already in it with essential oils. And when you look at acupuncturists, we've had, I don't know how many hundreds come on our courses. And afterwards, they kind of using this all the time. I mean, they still use needles now and again, but this is so powerful, they'd stop using the needles. So I think this is about future-proofing yourself, so that if things go tits up and start collapsing, you've got one of the most powerful healing modalities on the planet in your pocket or in your handbag, and you can suddenly pull it out. And let's face it, if there's a problem and you can't get to a hospital, the training course, we're going to tell you what you should do. And so I think this is really, this technology and what we're going to teach is worth its weight in gold, because once you know it, you're not going to look back. You're going to go, whoa, I wish I'd known this. I wish I was taught this at school. And if you were, the world wouldn't be in the mess it's in now.
Totally agree. I mean, we all have a different path to getting to the point where we want to find out about these things. I nearly died 3 or 4 times and was in intensive care 20 odd years ago, which set me off on the journey. And I was a very reluctant kind of, always open-minded. That's why I became a raw juicing vegan for a while, and that's why I did all these things, like a lot of us have. And my life plan was not set out to do. I don't think it was set out to run a healing center or talk about this sort of stuff. But necessity is the mother of all invention, and these technologies are rising to the surface because of necessity, because we are completely let down and poisoned by our own systems systems we got born into that were designed to do that, actually. So for me, it's all about sovereignty and like having the knowledge, like your granny did, that you should put butter on things if you've got a problem instead of going to the doctor and getting pills. And the lemon, I loved sharing the lemon oil the other day, because I've been using that now for I think about a month. And there was another oil you told me to put with it, which I promised.
Helichrysum. Yeah.
Say it again.
Helichrysum.
Yeah, I haven't committed it to memory, but it's next to my bed, and I've been putting that on at the same time. I've got a question about that, because somebody on my Telegram group said you tell Mark you can't use this lemon essential oil without a carrier oil, otherwise there's a problem. Is that true? I don't think that's true.
No, I mean, there's three different schools of like aromatherapy. There's the kind of French school, which you put everything on you and stick it up your backside, and there's the American school, and of course they're very much into, most of these people, into synthetic oils. They're not into the real organic oils. So if anyone knew about the raindrop technique, and by the way, a lot of this stuff we do on the training too, we show you some of these techniques. I mean, the raindrop technique, we drop pure essential oils onto the spine. We drop 7 of them. And we do it after we do this treatment with the Pain Genie. So what we're saying is if you do that and that, you get 1 + 1 is 11. It's not 2. Yeah? But again, these different schools of thought are very. So if you read most of the American aromatherapy, oh, you've got to put a carrier oil, you've got to do this. Well, certain oils, I mean, for example, like oregano and thyme, yeah, you wouldn't put that directly on the skin. I mean, that would burn. But lemon oil, not a problem.
No,
again, with the lemon oils, they're full of D-limonene. These are anti-tumor, anti-cancer. One thing with lemon oils or the citrus oils, you wouldn't put them on your face and go in the sun because you could have some other effects. But we have loads of books and PDFs we give people. We have handouts with a lot of the stuff on it. So it's not really an issue. We just have to understand why people would say that, and it's not because they're being facetious or anything else, or it's just the fact that that's what they've been taught, and a lot of what you've been taught is just not right, unfortunately. But well, just one other thing, Mark. So one other thing I just mentioned about this situation is that we've been having an increasing problem, as I told you, about getting technologies into different countries because of the Ukraine war, because of Brexit, because of all this madness and Houthis, and so. I have mentioned this before. I said, if you really want to get involved with what we're doing, don't leave it, because I had a call the other day from a guy in Germany who wanted to buy a Pain Genie from us, and he told me he was going to buy one. It's going to cost him €1,300 just for the device. Now, I haven't had that confirmed, but he got one from us, right? Or well, shortly he'll be hopefully supplying him with one. But the issue is that we just can't tell how long these supply chains are going to be around. It's a bit like, if there's a war in the, to do with the Suez Canal or whatever, I mean, the price of oil is going to double. That's the kind of thing. So it is one of them things where we just don't know how long all these wonderful technologies are going to be around. And it's not just getting that one box in; it's the components that make up the system. Yeah. Like many people already having problems with, the prices are just going through the roof, and so we have no control. If we put the prices up, we have no control over that. It's not. We're just surviving with what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, apart from it being like, for me, it's just another piece of armory in my own armory for protecting my own family and community. But it's also for me because I'm getting on, and the reason why I did that scan with you and shared that with the viewers is because it's like you said to me. You said you're not got a problem now, but there are signs that you could have a problem there in the future, and that is an amazing thing to know. And it's amazing to have a few like that lemon oil. I mean, it's £13 a bottle. It's 5 drops on. It lasts for 6 months, and you can rebuild your thymus gland. So I share some of that information because that sort of stuff should be common knowledge, shouldn't it? That kind of thing. Yeah. But then people come back and say, "What's the thymus gland?" And it cracks me up because they're on my channel, and I have to pull all the strength I have to not say, "Go on to Google, go on to Yandex, and type in what is a thymus gland," because that's where we're still at. We're still people. The reason I've got stress over putting up the tent this afternoon is because I've got twin 14-year-old boys who want to go camping, and I gave them a tent and said, right, put that up. 3 hours later, they still couldn't work it out. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to help you, because if you don't, and this is the point, we've got to learn how to do things ourselves, whether we like it or not, because it's either that, and we're just not going to be here any longer.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, as most people know, I mean, your health is everything you've got. I mean, if you're not healthy, then how can you do anything? And we've had many situations where somebody, very well off, terrible pain on 6 different drugs, didn't want to spend XYZ to buy, say, a Pain Genie or something else we've marketed. you know, I mean, not expensive for what it does. It's, you know, well under 600, 700 quid, you know, without the training. But they won't spend that kind of money, but they'll spend 10 grand going to Mauritius for 10 days and be in pain for the entire 10 days. Yeah. Because they're relying on this guy with a white coat to give them these magic bullets. And for some reason, not actually realizing it's not working. And it's not only not working, it's actually making them worse. Because then they get another drug for the side effects of the first two. So this is really about future-proofing yourself and getting the knowledge while we can still, you know, I mean, I hope things work out for everybody, you know, but if things do go tits up, the knowledge you learn now is going to absolutely be a lifesaver. And if things do go really crazy, then the people who are going to have some form of protection, if you like, from people wanting to nick your food if the food supply goes down or whatever, are the new healers. And so your more knowledge you know now, the chances are you'll be much more protected, because we say, oh, don't go and nick Mark's some tins of spuds, because we got two kids and, you know, and a granny, and they need someone to heal them, and he can do it. So go nick that bloke's spuds. I mean, I'm being a bit tongue in cheek, but you know, you get the idea when you see the madness that you can look out there with Gaza, Ukraine, food supplies, killing the cows to save carbon, you know, and of course carbon dioxide in esoteric circles is the life force. It's the chi, it's the prana. Without carbon dioxide, you know, I mean, if you get stressed, just try breathing in a paper bag and you'll find you're stressed up because you're getting more carbon dioxide.
Yeah. I mean, the only carbon they want to reduce is us.
That's it, because we're carbon-based life forms.
Well, for now.
Well, there's many life forms, you know, who don't require oxygen, right? But all of them need carbon. So, you know, we're seeing the, you know, I remember Carrie Cassidy, if you remember, you know, Project Camelot. I met her many times and did a few things with her. And when she first started off, people said she was a raving lunatic. Absolutely, a bit like David Icke, a bit like
I loved Camelot 15 years ago. I watched every single episode her and what's his name with the hat did. I can't remember his name now.
Oh yeah, that was Dan or whatever, the husband. Yeah,
I can't remember his name, but yeah, I
remember his name now.
No. Yeah, amazing stuff.
Yeah. So again, the idea is, if you've been forewarned about some of these things, it's going to be a shock for people if they realize they can't do something when they could have done something, because then it's a bit too late. Yeah,
exactly.
That's not being fatalistic. That's just being a realist at the moment.
Well, for me, it's pragmatism. I mean, you know, if you are a healer, your value in society is going to go through the roof. I said when I started this podcast, I was being spat at in the street for questioning the narrative, but I knew one day there'd be a queue round the door, round the corner, you know, at the door, round the street. Because people want to know what's going on. And that's exactly what's happened over the last 4 years. Yeah. And I'd say to the viewers, look, I've done thousands of interviews. 96% of them have been absolutely solid. Maybe a small percentage of people have come on the show and not been exactly what I expected them to be. But really, I've known Richard now for, God, 9 months, I think. And this is, it's just amazing. If you can come on the course, but we have to limit the spaces for the course because you can't really manage more than 25 people, is it?
Yeah, I mean, if 25. I mean, we like to keep it within certain numbers, so we kind of like first come, first served sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, and one other thing, I think we've mentioned before, we do actually have we run non-surgical facelift courses.
Oh yeah,
and we're going to as a kind of a plus, if you like, an extra bonus for your good listeners, we're going to introduce them to how to do that with the Pain Genie, and we're going to give them. We have a section on the website which is the non-surgical facelift. Now we do run a one-day course, but we have videos of how you do it with the Pain Genie. Now you can buy extra probes to do it, which we'll probably have available, but that's something that's normally, I can't remember what it is, 250 quid or something. We're going to include that to those people coming from your show so that they can actually realize that this is not just something that's for healing. You can actually do a lot of things for the non-surgical facelift.
Well, I want my face lifted first.
We'll just do one side. We'll just do one side first, Mark, and see.
So it look like I got a stroke.
Yeah. Well,
is it strong enough to work on this? Will it do anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've got hair, you use a hair probe. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, give you one example of that type of thing. It might myasthenia gravis.
No.
Where people get face.
Yeah.
Well, I had just quite a few of those people, but one of them, for example, was a guy who'd had a surgical procedure, and within about a month, he ended up literally one side of the face was right down. And when he went back to them, they really said, "There's nothing. We don't know what we can do, but we can give you some drugs because." Even good doctors are tied. They can only give surgery or drugs, really. I mean, and so he came to me. He was a guy who used to go down the local pub, a Doomsday pub, thatch roof, 1,000 years old. And I gave him, I think it was 3 treatments and never recurred. Now, that's a side effect. I'm not saying anything more than pain relief, but that was a side effect of his body going into a healing mode. But yeah, I can just imagine that guy with his wife and his child who was young then, what his life would have been like after, say, 2 years of taking these drugs. I mean, it's not going to be good. It's not good.
No.
But hey, no.
Yeah, well, it's all there. And if you guys do come to the September event and it's sold out, just tell me in Telegram, and if there's enough people, we'll do another one the next month maybe, because I want to get this. I want to get everybody here trained up on this. But if you guys want to come on, it'd be a great weekend anyway. Brilliant, thank you, Richard. Lots to digest for people there, but really good. And I'm so glad that we finally got to talk about this. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Great.
Cheers. Thanks everybody for watching. See you soon.